including healthcare, finances, utilities, insurance, and tax automation. He is also known for his cross-functional collaboration, mentoring, and deep expertise in agile and data. We are excited to have him here and share his insights today. Welcome.
Thank you. So, my session is not that great as Jyoti. But yes, I have the first quote that I would like to make is you cannot, if you don't understand a product, you cannot document it clearly. Right? So, to all the technical writers, are you with me on that? If you don't understand the gist of the product and you haven't worked on that product yourself, it's very difficult for them to actually write what exactly needs to be written. So my journey is So, my name is Amit Mahajan. I have around 22 years of experience in technical writing, UX, instructional designing, and content writing. I started 22 years back, around 2003. But what's not here, I would like to mention over there that before 2003, it was around 7 to 10 years where I did multiple jobs. That was the era when I started working as a trainer. I started working I did my own business as well at one point in time. So that 7 to 8 years, yahan dhakke khaye, literally dhakke khaye. I was one of the first 30 employees hired by Aviva India in 2001 in India. Tolstoy Mark building was the office. So we actually literally created that office piece by piece. Computers जाके लगाए वहाँ पे, उस level तक काम किया. I was training for them in NIS Pata. I'm not sure if most of the people know NIS Pata. That was a training wing of NIIT. So I was training the people over there for insurance. These all things are not mentioned over here because my session is about technical writing. Next, from words to impact. My journey of 22 years. I started the agenda, would be career, domains, roles, building and scaling teams, transition legacy, document data. I think most of you must have done that because in the course of your journey, data came at one point in time and you need to transform legacy documents into data. Working as UX writer versus a technical writer, which is the demand of the today, because UX writing is growing as a field. People are transitioning from technical writing to UX writing. Working in agile environment, mentorship, leadership, impact of documentation, and lessons learned. Let's start with this. If you have any questions, you can shoot anytime between the presentation. So early days, I started my career in 2003 as a technical writer for a vendor of an IIT, which was there in Faridabad, Math Solutions. I worked for NIIT. Then I went to Bombay, worked as instructional designing in one company. Then after that, the core technical writing thing started when I joined Sintel, which was an investment banking company. The project project for investment banking first. The company was a service company. Then in 2007, that was the era when I went first time to US. As technical writers, people don't get that much chance to travel. So I was fortunate that I got the chance very early in my career. It was an experience that everybody longs for. I have documented or learned things from the horse's mouth over there, worked for them. And then if you see in 2009, 2008-9 was an era where recession struck. So I moved to a recession-free domain, which is healthcare. They say that. That's a recession-free domain. Then there I worked for transitioning legacy documents into data. So 2.5 years we managed to work on a single project of transitioning the documents from healthcare to data, means from legacy document to data documentation. Then came 2013, insurance portal. I worked for H Center now, which is part of Optum. There I was working for Obamacare healthcare insurance portals. Then I switched from there to metering, smart metering, Anderson Gear. There I was the first person over here, and we'll talk more on that. My last company was Avalara, which is a tax tech company. So tax tech and compliance company. So we'll talk about that. Domains I work for healthcare, insurance, finance, utilities, tax tech. Roles, writer, architect, mentor, lead. Different roles, different organizations. Some of you must have worked with me. Others don't know me that much, but because I'm not a part of a very long these STC conference or technical writing tribe, I joined very late in these forums. So let's talk about a case study, which is building and scaling teams. So if you have any questions, you can shoot anytime, okay? So this was a case where we, in Anderson here, I was hired for a single project, and then I had a challenge of actually creating a team and getting more documentation projects from my counterparts in US. So I've seen that usually when you have a team in US or other parts of the world, normally people say that you need to show them what you're doing, how you're doing it. So this kind of scenario always is there in technical writing. But I'll tell you, from my experience, I can say that you should not think like that. Think them as a team. If you don't think them as a team, your extension of your team, it will be very difficult for you to actually work with them. So if you say you need to show them, show is always a bad word. If you go into the intricacies of that, show is like you need to show them when you're not doing it. When you're doing it, you don't need to show anything. It will come to you. So the trust is one thing which I created with the team. Strategies of building on that, I started small. I started converting one-pager document for other products. For one product I was hired, I started taking more jobs from the US team. I built trust with them. Then I started doing documentation framework. Framework was, we don't have hardware documentation done from India side, so we started taking that. In the course of time, we hired more people. We trained those people for those documentation needs that we had in India. My takeaway for the entire journey was consistency builds trust. You should be consistent while doing it. Don't think that this is a small project, or if you are doing just a change in a document, a small change in a document, that will actually impact the entire stuff. Your journey will be impacted by one change. Just start it. If you don't do that, it's like you will be, see, it's an entire circle. So, the consistency part, if consistency is not then the circle will not be complete. So, when I left Anderson here, we had around 8 plus portfolios which were documenting from India side. The entire team. And Marku, I have done that without disrupting anyone or any team member from the US. All the technical writers, you better know what I am talking. If you have team in US or other parts of the world, without disrupting that team and taking work in India, it's a big thing. Am I correct? Are you with me on that? I think you have your own journeys which are actually that way. People are there in the US or other parts of the world, and if you want to create a team over here, you need to disrupt the team over there, or some people will go, then only the team will be created over here in India. Doing that without anything is a big challenge. So, second case study is transitioning legacy documents to disk data. In Allscripts, which was previously known as Eclipses, some of the people, Puneet used to work for that organization, and I met Puneet over there. He was in Bangalore. So there was a product, Sunrise Financial Manager. We had around 70 plus modules. I'm taking generous and saying that it is 70 plus. It was close to 90 module product. So what we did was, if you say the entire 100% of time that was devoted in actually changing or moving the parts of legacy into data, the 70% of the time was planning. We did rigorous planning to the extent that the document was in RoboHelp. We did change it to unstructured FrameMaker. From there we changed it to structured FrameMaker. And then from there we created the data documents. So entire planning was the main part over there. So I tell you, if you are working on this kind of a project, I would suggest you devote maximum time in planning. Because if your plan is good, it will be very easy for you to actually implement that. If your plan is not good, or if there are caveats in the plan, the rework will be more, and it will actually impact the timeline of the entire project. I've always been of a point that first time right. If you are first time right, your entire circle or the entire life cycle time in the project will be decreased. Take 2 more days in completing the project on a means project should be flawless, or whatever delivery you are doing. If you have given 2 days to that, take 3 days. That will actually take your time, or the entire timeline will be good. If you have taken more time in doing the things correct first time. Are you with me on that?
Yes.
So the takeaways was, so we have used Oxygen, FrameMaker, and RoboHelp. For RoboHelp, the content was there, then we translated into Oxygen, and then from there Oxygen we translated or migrated the content to Oxygen. So the takeaway was structured authoring was a future-proof content. Anybody has any examples that they can give me of this statement? Is it structure proof right now? Future proof content and structure? Yes. So in the entire process, what I learned was, or what I can tell you was, it's very difficult to change the entire unstructured content to structure, but once it is done, your amount of time that you need to make changes or reuse that content actually goes down a lot. Your entire process time decreases, for a new project, the process time decreases by around 75% if the content isn't structured. So UX writers growing role. Normally, we technical writers are known as, we used to write support blogs, right? What may be a user guide, content guide, whatever. Now the things have changed, or things are moving from there to content strategies. Product design elements. We used to write product design elements and stuff like that. So in one of my projects, my work was My Lodge Tags, which is a product which caters to the users who have rental homes in US, right? So the taxation part of those rental homes we used to take care in My Lodge Tags. So that project was a legacy project which the company took, and then we changed the entire UI to put in more elements, more messages, because the audience level was from 18 years to 60 plus years. Anybody can actually own a house, right? So the taxation of those things were done in My Lodge Tags. We need to have close alignment with dev and dev, tech and dev teams. Usually in technical writing you don't see that, because agile is there, you need to actually work like that. But if you go before that, you don't have that much collaboration with the dev team, because the content was ready. The screens on the product was ready, and then you need to document that. But as agile came and now UX writing is there, so in UX writing as well agile works. So the collaboration was more when it comes to design. So content is UX. Anybody knows why I have written this line? Anybody knows why I have written this line? Content is UX. Yeah. Actually, when you write content, that makes your UX more. So when the content for a product is written, the messages, the on-screen text, that enhances your user experience. Previously, companies used to invest more in UX, but now people have started investing more in UX. So where UX writing and technical writing actually, what's the difference between them, where it overlaps actually? So in tech writing you write guides, manuals, API documents and stuff like that, right? In UX writing you write in-app text, labels, messages, right? And the overlap is clarity should be there, tone should be there, and empathy to the users should be there, right? Can you tell me what more you can think of actually in this? Anybody? Anybody else? And there's a lot of questions that I come across when it comes to what is the difference between tech writing and UX writing. So as per my understanding, see when you say tech writing is a part which actually comes into picture after the product is designed. But UX writing is one thing which actually comes into picture before the product is created, right? So if you have the product, you have what you need to write. You know what you need to write in the user guide, in the configuration document, in the process documents, or other documents which actually are used as a product document. But in UX writing, you don't know what exactly needs to be written. So the domain knowledge is one thing that you should have before you start doing UX writing. If you don't have the domain knowledge, you will not be able to write the exact words, or the empathy will not be there for that screen or for that product. So what the difference that I have learned is you should have domain knowledge when you are starting as a UX writer. So, or I should say, you should start in the domain where you know the domain. Because the words that you will use or the jargon that you will use in the text messages or screen text will make sense then. Make sense? Are you with me on that?
Yes.
Okay. So, working in agile environment. So when I started in 2019 in all scripts, there was no agile. So we adopted agile at that time. So there was no process for technical writing at that time in agile. So what we did was I created my own process that I will document one sprint before, till one sprint before. So that way I manipulated the process of technical writing, which is not a great thing at that time, but yes, it worked for me when we were documenting it. So we used to run the roles that is there in the agile are writer, SME, and Scrum Master, right? The tools we use are Jira, Confluence, Figma when it comes to technical writing as well as UX writing. So embed writers early in the project. That is the takeaway or the thing when you are working in agile environment. I don't know. You all must have worked in agile environment, and I think you have this kind of experience that writers are not. That is not part of early team discussions at that time. I'm not sure, right? You have that this thing in mind that writers are not aligned to the project early. But yes, I think they should be aligned to the project. Next is, writers should be early contributors, right? In the entire process. So when it comes to mentorship and leadership, lead by example. I think everybody knows that. But saying that and doing that are two different things. If you yourself are not passionate about the work that you are doing, your team members will not. I think many of you are leaders over here. You can very well relate to this. If you are going home at 6 o'clock, your team will not stay till 8. Correct? But it's not that. We are working from home or we have hybrid things. My point is, you should always lead by example in the sense of if you set their parameters right as a leader, the team should follow. And team should only follow when they see that there is my leader is doing the right thing. If the leader is not doing the right thing, the team will never follow. And that should not be when I use an anecdote, गधे के भी हाथ में डंडा दे दो लोग ऐसे हाथ देगा, गधे को कहो ऐसे बिना डंडे के हाथ में देगा. That means if you have power, anybody will follow you. If you don't have power and then you need to do it, that's the challenge. You should be doing that. So impact of documentation in different companies that I've worked. Let me start from my current or the last company. We achieved operational efficiency, customer complaints decreased. There was customer satisfaction which came into picture. So these are the things which will actually help to improve adoption with revamped docs. Adoption in the sense our clients adopted the entire hardware after reading about our documentation. The entire support cycle came down, support tickets came down drastically after that. ACA portal support, that was, I'm talking about the Obamacare portal that we created for different cities or different states in US. So the support tickets came down when we created the documentation for them. And takeaways, documentation impacts usability and trust. How many of you are with me on this? That it actually does that, right? So, if you have worked in the organization and you see this, you will be satisfied that yes, my work is acknowledged somewhere. Lessons learned, adaptability is critical. You need to adapt. You need to adapt in different roles, you need to adapt in different profiles, you need to adapt in different domains. Invest in standards and tools. Right now, every company is doing that. Because of AI, all the companies are actually making it more and more investment in the AI tools, chatbots, your different AI tools actually. Collaboration versus solo drive. I think collaboration is very important. If you don't, your communication should be very open when it comes to team or extended teams in US and other parts of the world. This is very important. Key evolution with tech and users. Of course, you keep evolving. See, the teams evolve, the users also evolve.